mind. Elder actually kinda had phase transition. Just from the Bladestorm itself. So this is now awkward. Feel that's so fine when you're actually damaging the boss, and I have like 98% hit chance with like I don't know how many attacks per second, and you're just not regenning life, neither you do damage. You know exactly you're not where you are actually should be. Uber Elder number 3 today, no duel. Is it just me, or is the loot getting worse and worse and worse every time I do Uber Elder? Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today I want to show you my, pretty much off-meta build, because this build is something, I mean, it's a skill that got released somewhere in 3.7, but even in 3.7 it not really was matter, and I'm talking about Bladestorm, which actually looks fantastic, especially with the bleed ones. But yeah, I think 3.7 was more like the Lacerate, Cyclone, like any kind of melee skill besides Bladestorm. So that's why I thought like, hey, let's try out Bladestorm now after all these nerfs, or I would say balances to melee and stuff, you know. And I have to say, this is actually way more fun than I was expecting, okay? So I was really playing a lot around this build. I was trying two-hand with the Chaos Heart, dual wield, then crit-based, then RT-based, max block chance, like almost 82% max block, and all different kinds of variation on this build to find out what is the most enjoyable play style for me or for the build itself. But yeah, in the end it was a dual wield with an Elder Astral Plate here for the base crit Impale character, which is kind of the usual thing what to do with melee builds now. For the map showcase, I think we're just gonna run a casual Hydra here. So you can see how this build is performing. I was just doing the Uber Elder that you saw in the intro. And yeah, so first of all, I want to just explain quickly how this build is playing. So you can have up to 3 Bladestorms, okay? Just if multi-strike. So it's 1, 2, 3. So 3 Bladestorms, right? There is a Helm enchant where you can have Bladestorm, a 4th Bladestorm, right? So what does Bladestorm do? Bladestorm is basically this aura here. It's doing damage, and when I'm in the Bladestorm, as you see, I'm getting a buff here, Blood Bladestorm. And if I switch to the Sand, I'm getting the Sand Bladestorm here. So the difference is Blood is standing still, and the Sand one is moving around, okay? So the difference still is, if you are in the Sandstorm here, you're getting movement speed, right? And if you're in the Bloodstorm, you're getting melee physical damage, like extra damage here, right? And that's this is basically why I use the Sandstorm for clearing, because we're also like, we're Gladiator, and we are actually having Challenger charges. And you get those charges if you kill stuff with Sand, or if you hit a rare or unique in Blood. So this is also how you get the Challenger charges in Sand stance while mapping, and if there is a boss, switch to Blood stance and just go very, very ham. So this is just the playstyle itself, and why I'm just running and just pressing that. So I want to have the movement speed buff from the Sandstorm here. So let's take a look how this looks in the practical part here. As I said, we are Gladiators, so we are also having some bleed here, some bleed pops. And I gotta say, I was thinking that the build is super clunky and slow, but the Challenger charges, you are getting 20% more attack speed and 20% more movement speed. So even I'm not having a Queen of the Forest or anything like that. What is this? Not a Headhunter. we're actually quite fast. And even with the sandstorms here, it's just like you're super quick here. Like in the sandstorm, I'm having 214% movement speed, which is quite a lot, I would say, for a non-movement speed based build. My boots have like 30% movement speed, so even there, nothing too special. So here we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mod here. So we're just gonna, I think we're just gonna go with Frost here, so you see how the Blight clear is. And I gotta say, I played with a max block without bleed pops, but in the end, I went back to the bleed pops just because it helps you so much in clearing. So here you can either just go Blood Stance and set the Bladestorm on there, it will kill stuff, or you do it like me, that you just run around with the Sandstorm, just jumping everywhere and just popping stuff, basically, right? So it's even there, it's quite fast, and the bleed pops, all these kind of explosions on kill, whether it's Impulsor, whether it's like anything else, do help massively on the clear speed itself, right? So upgrade here, upgrade. Like I think like on a certain amount of clear speed, the turrets are getting kinda useless. Okay. Would be fun if I just fail this one now. No, don't fail! Because I'm too lazy. First you say like, mbX says I don't need to upgrade turrets, and on the other hand he just fails this this blighted mechanic because of lack of turrets. That would be amazing, dude. And it's actually happening. It's actually happening. See? Actually, oh fuck, boss, Blood Stance, burst is down. Hey, wait, we got this. I got this. See, easy. What do I worry about? But yeah, for hard-hitting packs, you want to go into Blood Stance, because it will dramatically boost your damage here, right? So some shit talisman, some other shit loot. Well, Light League, right? Sums up Light League. Emperor's Luck, some regrets. What else? Alchemy. Chaos, and we're good. So let's keep on going with this one. So as you see, Blight is... That was pretty much the hardest that Blight can get with an 8 modded one in the tier 16 Guardian map, right? And even there, if you like... Maybe build your turrets, not like I'm like too lazy for that shit. You're gonna have a pretty easy and awesome time. Because usually you just let the Sandstorm... Because the Sandstorm is doing a damage, right? It's doing half of the damage that you are doing with the initial hit. And it also applies Bleed, and it also applies Impale, which is, yeah, kinda nice to stack up those Impale stuff, right? So, let me check here. For here, I just want to see that I have my Challenger charges ready when I'm moving on to the Hydra encounter. So, switching to Blood Stance, get my Totem down. Ah, almost one-tapped. One-tap in sense of kill it before it, moves away, right? But yeah, there you go. There is the kill. And as you saw, the single target is actually not bad. The single target is actually not bad. At least I think it's pretty cool. Especially if you have like 3 Bladestorms. If the mob is not moving, you have 3 Bladestorms. That's like 1.5 times your actual damage, what this thing is just constantly doing, right? So, okay, let's talk about, first of all, Path of Building link is in the description below if you just want to get out of here, you know, like, yeah, I don't care, mbX, what you're telling us or whatever, but I still want to give you all my kind of impressions, what I did with this build. So, let's start with the basics. You can go dual wield or you can go two-handed. I was playing with a two-handed Exquisite Plate for the multiplier with level 2045 multi-modded, right? With just physical damage, hits cannot be evaded, that kind of stuff. And with a Chaos Heart to give me more life. So, why did I pick dual wield over the two-handed weapon? For me, it's more damage, more like faster damage, right? The dual wield gives you 10% more attack speed. You also get like 15% chance to dodge, at least block chance while dual wield. And it's general like more damage, but it's more expensive, you know? Getting 2 good weapons is harder than getting 1 good weapon, you know? Because I made those jeweled forests yesterday. They are just like dictators and annulled off and then just multi-modded, and it took me literally like 5,000 alterations to hit Dictator's mod twice, and then I was actually lucky with the annul. So yeah, they're currently having a 452 and 450 DPS. This is actually quite nice. So as I was saying on the explanation of this Bloodstorm, these are doing damage, okay? So while they are there, they are doing damage, both the Sand and the Blood one, and it's like half of your damage. I think the Sandstorm is actually doing less damage, Yeah, Sand Bladestorms grant 38% movement speed. Bladestorm deals 50% less damage with hits and ailments. Okay, that's what I was mean. No, wait a second. No, stop. The 50% less damage is what the Bladestorm is doing. So let's say I hit with 100,000, the Bladestorm will do 50,000 every time it ticks, you know? And the ticks are actually based on your attack speed. And as I said, it can apply Bleed, it can apply Impale. It's just like a normal hit, you know? So that means if you have 3 times this Bladestorm there, you're basically doing 150,000 plus your actual attack, and then comes the Impale and everything else. So the damage actually is quite nice, although the tooltip is pretty bad, you know, like 80,000 Bladestorm, like what the fuck? I mean, that's like with the Bladestorm 90,000, but you still have to think of, you have the Bleed, you have the Impale, and that just tremendously hooks up, you know. And even if I say I have 3 times the Bladestorm here, I'm getting the buff 1 time, but the actual Bladestorm damage is nowhere near, you know. It's not even in Path of Building. So if you open the Path of Building, you can check on the left side. We can actually do that quick, just for the explanation. So if you're wondering, like, why you're not doing enough damage based on tooltip, I think this is my character right now. Should be, yeah, somewhere. So you have here the Bladestorm that's doing like 200,000, right? On Shaper, yes. Yeah, but I have to do like Frenzy Charge and like, let's skip all of these settings here, whatever. The thing is, you can check here, the attack is actually the attack you're doing, and then you have the Bladestorm itself, which is like 50% of your actual attack, right? But if you have 3 times that Bladestorm, it's not like there is no, in the Path of Building, like a total amount. Like, let's say 3 Bladestorm is active. You can just check in, like, are you in a Bladestorm, and not like how many Bladestorms are active, and just get a total amount of damage, right? So don't forget to calculate this one in. Then, yeah, I think for the gear itself, we're just gonna go over the gear and the build guide itself, and after all of that information, I want to talk about what I did, even when I did the max block Gladiator in this kind of build here, right? So for the helm, it's just like life resistance, the typical trash rare items that you have, nothing multi-modded or anything. It's like pretty cheap. Like, I have to say, my foils and the chest are worth something. The rest is legit trash, dude. I like rings. I think I paid like 5 chaos for this one. It's just life and physical damage. What is the else? Mana regen, energy shield, fire damage. Here we have mana regen. Like, my rare items are trash. I know that. The only good things are my foils and the chest here. So, as I said, life resistance, I have here Ancestral Protector for the attack speed. Then we have a Dread Banner, Blood and Sand, and Precision, Precision level 1. Then for the falls here, this is coming still from the block. I would change this one now, right? Which is Riposte, Onslaught Support, and Power Charge and Crit. The reason why I had that one is Riposte is a counter attack, right? And when we are Gladiator and going for the Inforged, your counterattacks deal double damage, and also the nice thing about that is when you block, you do this attack, right? It's like a Riposte for dual wielding, then it's a Reckoning if you wear a shield, and then there is like other counterattacks, but on this dual wield we're using Riposte. But as I said, first of all, right, this is not a block build anymore. So these 3 spots are kind of wasted, because how high is my block chance at the moment? It's, where is it, defense? None. Okay, I don't even have block chance. No, actually you do. Chance to block attack damage, 17%. Because I was just thinking of, wait a second, if you have dual wield, you have 15% naturally. So I have 17% chance to block an attack and actually get this. But if the Riposte is killing something or doing damage, you get free Onslaught and Power Charge and Crit, which is actually super nice, especially when you're investing into block. On the offhand, just cast one damage taken, Immortal Call and Blood Rage level 7, and Immortal Call level 3, so both can be triggered with the cast one damage taking setup level 1. Then for the chest, this is our major damage here. Coming in with Bladestorm, Brutality, Pulverize, Multi-Strike, Fortify, and Impale. So Impale is something you want to have. You want to reach the 100% Impale chance, which I did here. 102% is the max you can get as a non-champion, basically, right? And the rest, it's not like the best, I would say the best damaging supports, because there is still like Melee Fist or Ruthless or Damage and Full Life that is giving more damage. But having Fortify in your setup, permanently having Fortify up, is something quality of life, physical damage reduction, and so on, right? Then for the rings, as I said, since I have so many rare items, there's until the Impress is the only one. But on the other hand, I have so much resistance on my rare items that I could just go with Fizz and maximum life on the rings here, right? Should be capped. Yeah, almost. I think I switched the enchant here. Should actually, with all the gear switching, dude. Like, as I said, I was switching so many gears and trying to make all kinds of build variations on this build. But yeah, as I said, the dual wield Impale was the best outcome of it. Then for the amulet, I have Impresence. Impresence gives us fizz damage, life, and also vulnerability. Has 100% reduced mana reservation. That's why we want the Blasphemy vulnerability combo to get free vulnerability, which gives also like the enemy get less physical reduction and like chance to bleed and whatever. So you're doing more damage is the outcome. Then for the gloves here, just life resistance, having Pride, Flesh and Stone, Maim, and Enlighten support, so we can reserve that. In the boots, Leap Slam, Endurance Charge, and Melee, and then, as I said, Blasphemy and Vulnerability. And as I said before, gloves, belt, boots, everything here, just life and resistance. Nothing to worry about. If I would have more currency, I would probably get like an additional curse here on the chest, maybe the Whispers of Doom for additional curse on these amulet, so I could have the vulnerability as my first curse, then an Elder Ring with the Warlord's Mark, then a Shaped Ring with Assassin's Mark, so we run triple curse. You can also have gloves with like a Corruption with like a Temp Chains on hit, or vulnerability on hit, or what else could we have, and Feeble on hit, like any more defensive stuff. Right, so there is so much more room to put into this build, and I've done like I think like 5 or 6 Uber Elders with this one. So I just know if I spend more currency into that, it's just going to be more ridiculous. For the flasks, a Bleed Immune Flask, a Diamond Flask with Freeze Immunity, then a Cinder Swallow Urn, this is usually my flask for mapping, a Lion's Roar for the melee, the more melee damage, and the Quicksilver Flask to move even faster, so nothing too special here. So we talked about the gems and the gear. Bandits, it's a crit build, that means we're helping Illyra, right? For Pantheons, my usual setup for bossing, so Laris and Yugel for the Uber Elder, and if you're just mapping, you can take Lunaris and Shakari for the poison immunity. Skill tree wise, what we have here: Ascendancies, first Rush, the Gratuitous Violence, which gives the bleed pops, which will really speed up your mapping experience. Then I have the Arena Challenger, more attack speed and more movement speed. This is why I can get more than 200% movement speed, even though I'm actually not really scaling movement speed at all, right? And Outmatch and Outlast for the extra frenzy and endurance charge generation and more physical damage, and reduced physical damage taken while at maximum frenzy and endurance charge, which is also pretty nice to have. And then it's a typical Impale build, right? The only thing that I added or adopted here is the bleed damage on Razor's Edge and the bleed damage on Red Storm. Why do I do that? It's just for me quality of life. So the Ascendancy gives me 50% chance to bleed, right? 25 here, 25 here. So I'm missing 50%. I know vulnerability gives me a little bit, but I just feel better if I know whatever I do with this attack, I have my 100% chance to bleed here, right? I should inflict bleeding 100%. So as I said, 50% from Ascendancy, 25 here, 25 here. So I know whatever I'm going to touch is going to bleed. Whenever it's going to die, it's going to explode. So sometimes you one-shot an enemy, and if you only have 50% chance to bleed, it is a 50-50 if it explodes or not, right? This is just my quality of life, those 6 points here. Rest here, then on the left side, Transcendent Flash, a typical usual thing that you have here, giving me additional physical damage reduction and a multiplier, which is also pretty nice to hear. Probably not even with that way, because you get the strength, or at least the unallocated, so you get more damage out of it if you just like skip all of that and take the strength points, so you get up to 49% multiplier on that one, but here we have more physical damage reduction. Then a multiplier, Soul of Steel for the maximum resistance, even more physical damage reduction. Don't forget your Impale notes here, Swift Skewering and the Forceful Skewering. Then I went here with the Accuracy notes here, Live, Crit. And then I would just finish here with the Fatal Blade, the Heartseeker, the additional Jewel slot, and then my skill tree is pretty much done. But as I said, Path of Building link is in the description below. For the cosmetics, if you want to Transcendent Helm, Body Armor, Gloves, Boots, Celestial, Character Effect with the Footprints, Void Wings, Double Seraph Sword with a new Sentinel Weapon Effect with Harbinger and Holy Eyes, with the Cult of Apocalypse, Portrait Frame, and Transcendent Portal effect. Then Bladestorm doesn't have an MTX, Dark Immortal Call. Then we have Celestial Blood and Sand and Flesh and Stone with the Monolith Aura effect from the last season, Soul Nexus, Celestial Leap Slam, and then we have the Celestial Aura effect. Now, that pretty much sums up the build guide itself, but now I want to talk about how did I progress through it, what did I try. So I wanted to try a max block Gladiator going dual wield. So usually max block characters do have a shield. I mean, obviously shield gives you up to like, I think 35-36% chance to block, which makes it really much easier to get your max block going. The next bad thing is, when you go max block, you cannot have Gracious Violence, because you want to have the speed of the Arena Challenger, so you remove those points here and get them into Versatile Combatant and Violent Retaliation. So that gives you 4% max block chance, so 75% is the block chance cap. With this one, it's 79, and then you still have the, what is it called, the Anvil, that gives you another 3% max block chance, so 82% is the maximum you can have, and I did reach 82%, okay? I did actually reach 82% with the Anvil, with the things here, but it's not easy to get, right? If you check on the skill tree here, right? Chance to block attack damage. So spell damage block doesn't bring us a lot because we're getting Versatile Combatant then, right? And this says your spell damage block is equal to your chance to block attack damage. It means we're scaling block to attack damage and we get the same amount for free on the spell damage part. So if you have 75% block chance to attacks, you're also going to have 75 to spell. It doesn't work the other way around. So if you're thinking like, hey, if I scale chance to spell damage, chance to block spell damage, you're not getting anything else, right? Even if you have, like, say, 10% chance to block attack damage, you have 10% spell damage, right? So if you add 5% spell damage, you're still going to have 10 because of this skill tree node. So the only thing we want to have is chance to block attack damage, chance to block attack damage. There you go. So we have some nodes here. Here we have 5%, 3%, 3%. Here are some nodes, 5%, 3%. And then there is some here, then here the Brutal Blade. But if you get everything here, right? If you get every single node on the tree, you're somewhere at maybe 30% block chance, right? So you're still missing 50% or something to reach your max block cap. So you have to rely on items. For example, the Anvil that gives you, with my corruption here, 13% chance to block. Then I was having some Elder Gloves here. They can have 5% chance to block attack damage, right? And then there is one important thing here, and this is something I want to mention, is the Red Nightmare. The Red Nightmare says fire resistance or all resistance will give you 35% of its value as block chance, right? So if we enter this jewel now on the left side, since we're having all resistance here and fire resistance here, right? If you add this one, you're going to see that we now have 1% chance to block on this, 2% chance to block on this, 1% over here. If you scale Diamond Skin, then here is a 4%, here is 1%, but it's also low value, you know, like 1% here, 2% here. So it requires a lot of min-maxing here to reach the 82%, and you have to just get away from so many multiplier because you need so much skill tree points, you know. And in the end, I did reach the 82%, but I probably had, I don't even think that I had half of the DPS that I'm running right now, right? Plus, I didn't have the bleed pops. So yeah, face tanking, Minotaur Chimera is something I can usually do with this type of character as well. It makes it easier. Max block is actually really cool, but I just don't think that it's worth it going on a dual wield character with max block, because it's so hard to get the block chance going, you know. With a shield, there are shields with like 36% block chance, so that's like 20% more block chance that you have to worry about less if you go with a shield than actually having the dual wield option, you know. Because that max block is insanely cool, gives you insane amounts of tankiness, but you always have to sacrifice, you know, and here I sacrificed the bleed pops and the clearing speed itself, and I just think that this version is faster, more damage, and I just compared like that. You're doing less damage, so fights take going longer, and you're getting more hits, you know. With this build, I kill Minotaur in like, let's say 3 seconds. How often will he try to hit me in 3 seconds? Maybe 4 times, you know. If the fight lasts like 10 seconds, the Minotaur will attack me like 15 times. Of course, I'm going to block 80% of those hits that he's doing, but he's just doing more hits. So I just think if you have the damage, you don't really have to rely on block at all, right? So, quick words to the two-hand version. As I said, with a 45, also very nice DPS, a little bit less than this version, but you have a Chaos Heart, which gives you another 500 flat life, so you're reaching about 7,000 life if you're building towards the life cluster on the top, right? So if you take this whole cluster with the Chaos Heart, you should be like 6.5, 7k life to reach, which is also more tanky on this part here. But yeah, all in all, I have to say, a very successful build, surprisingly fast and fun, so I can definitely recommend you to try this one out. And as I said, you saw the DPS is actually pretty fine. All the Guardians, Elder Guardians, all deathless, not a problem. And I still can invest so much more currency into this build, especially with the enchant, where you get one additional Blood or Bladestorm running around, okay? Yeah. That's it for today, I think. I think that's enough information. As I said, path of building link is in the description below if you want to check this one out. And as I said, don't believe the numbers in PUB, because it is way more, because it doesn't really count the impaled Bladestorms. So yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you have fun with this build. And yeah, see ya on the next video.